Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the class of 2022 and remain standing for the presentation of the colors by the Goose Creek High School JRTC cadets.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance and standing remaining for the national anthem. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs burst
Good morning. My name is Siebert. No? Oh, stop. Good. You may be seated. Good morning. My name is Siebert Granley, and I would like to welcome you to the commencement exercises of the Goose Creek High School class of 2022. I am excited to say that after all of the hardships we've endured over the past 2 years, we get to take these next steps together. A special thank you to all of our families, friends, and loved ones who helped us to get to where we are today. We could not have done this without you. Congratulations, guys. We made it.
Good morning. It is my pleasure to introduce our special guests. I ask that each guest stand briefly when introduced. Please hold your applause until all guests have been recognized. Miss Shamika Washington, Principal of Goose Creek High School. Mr. Curtis Campbell, President and CEO of Tax Act. Mr. Dion Jackson, Superintendent. Mrs. Heather Taylor, Chief Administrative Officer of Secondary Schools. Dr. Anthony Dixon, Chief Academic and Innovation Officer. Dr. Glenda Levine, Chief Diversity Officer. And our board members today, Mr. David Barrow, Board Chair, and Mrs. Kathy Littleton. We would also like to thank our BCSD Communications and Technology team, and also, my apologies, Mr. Tim McDowell. And our and Berkeley County Council District 3 Representative, Mr. Philip Obie II, GCH Class of 2000 alumni. And for our GCHS administration, Mrs. Latanya Butler, Mr. Angus Chingman, Mrs. Rebecca Davis, and Mr. Troy Johnson. A big round of applause for the best faculty and staff in the world. Again, please join me in giving all of our distinguished guests a round of applause. And please welcome Mrs. Latanya Butler, Assistant Principal, to introduce our salutatorian.
Good morning. Having the second highest grade point average in the class of 2022, Andrea Fletcher serves as this year's salutatorian. Andrea is the daughter of Stephanie and Jason Heiberger. Mr. and Mrs. Heiberger, please stand to be recognized at this time. Andrea will attend the Honors College at Clemson University in the fall and major in biological sciences. Please welcome Miss Andrea Fletcher, the salutatorian of the class of 2022.
Good morning, graduates, family, educators, and supporters of the class of 2022. I want to start off by thanking my friends, my family, and most importantly, my mom, for supporting me through everything, especially the past 4 years. When I think about the class of 2022, I'm reminded of all the little moments we shared that left lasting impacts. One of those impacts was when a friend introduced me to Hamilton during sophomore year. One of the lines from the musical that I've always loved is from The World Is Wide Enough. Towards the end of the song, Hamilton has a moment of reflection before his death. He says, "Legacy. What is a legacy? It's planting seeds in a garden you'll never get to see." Every day, while students at Goose Creek High School, we left breadcrumbs of our experiences, seeds that we planted but didn't get to see bloom. Every action we made had an effect on others. Sometimes we saw the immediate results of that action, others not so much. Many of us are much more familiar with the latter, which is why I want to spend a moment to talk about some I noticed. During junior year, some students from the class of 2022 started participating in Model UN. These founding members may not get to see their club participate at a conference, but they set the foundations for the future by planting seeds. Other students in the class of 2022 were some of the first members of Goose Creek High School's a cappella group, Creekapella. Together, they worked with underclassmen to introduce a new style of vocal performance that has the potential to achieve amazing feats in the future. For the past 2 years, Beta Club members have collected toys for Tots. I'm incredibly grateful for everybody supporting this project, and I hope that's one of the seeds that I got to plant. Class of 2022, you do not need to be in the room where it happens or work nonstop to leave a lasting impact. I want to advise you to take action. We have our entire lives ahead of us to create a beautiful impact on the world, help others, and create a better future. History has its eyes on you, graduates, so make the most of your time on Earth. If we spend our entire lives worrying that we will never have enough time to leave a positive influence on the world, we will spend our entire lives doing just that, worrying. I want to advise against that. So take a leap of faith. Join the club in college, travel the world, or interview for that job. We have the opportunity to make an impact no matter how small. The seeds we plant do not sprout overnight. So do not be discouraged over the lack of immediate results. Class of 2022, every day we have the opportunity to make a difference. As Lin-Manuel Miranda wrote, "Don't throw away your shot."
Good morning. With the highest grade point average, Destiny Brown has the distinct honor of serving as Goose Creek High School Class of 2022 valedictorian. Destiny is the granddaughter of Ronald and Gwen Maxwell. Mr. and Mrs. Maxwell, please stand to be recognized at this time. Destiny will attend Charleston Southern University in the fall and major in nursing. Please welcome Destiny Brown, a Gates Scholar and the valedictorian of the class of 2022.
Good morning, everyone. To some people, most of my family, and to me, there is only one judge, jury, and executioner. That is not the same to the rest of the world. From the moment I walk into a room, I am judged by what I have on and how I present myself. Most people will look at me, see that I wear glasses, and automatically think that I am smart or categorize me as a nerd. They expect me to know everything about anything, like who was the 19th president of the United States, or the meaning of some SAT word. But little do these people know that I failed a couple assignments, and I've gotten a C on not one, but 2 final exams. Some people will also take into account the color of my skin, and they'll think that I'm a rebellious individual with not much to contribute, and a bunch of other racial stereotypes. Little do they know that I am a well-behaved and respectful young woman. And finally, my natural hair. Some people would deem it as unprofessional, or for those who knew that I used to have straight hair, as not a wise decision to cut all my hair off and take the natural route. However, little do these people know that the reason that I cut my hair wasn't to feel empowered or to join the natural hair community. It was because my grandmother was the only one who took the time to relax my hair, and I was thinking one day that she wouldn't always be here with me. She wouldn't be there to apply the relaxer, and I didn't want anyone else, even myself, to take on such a task out of respect for her. So as you see, there's more to the story, to a person, than what's on the outside. Even the articles or snippets of information you may have read about me is not the full story. I remember laying in bed, nights on end, thinking about the curveballs life threw at me and why I even existed. What was my purpose in life? As I started growing closer to God and realizing the kind of person who I wanted to be, I realized that my purpose in life isn't just about me. It's about my grandparents, who welcomed my younger sisters and I with open arms when I was just 6 years old. My grandmother, who made sure that I was to every award ceremony and school event. My sisters, who look up to me and even call me their mother. My other family members and friends who were inspired by me and cheered me through every aspect of my life. And most importantly, it's about my community. People whom I've had yet to meet, but who see me as an inspiration. It's those people, my friends, my family, my sisters, and my grandparents who encompass my life's purpose. God didn't place me on this earth just to exist. He placed me here so that I can inspire, empower, and be a living testimony to his goodness and mercy. My story isn't finished, and neither are yours. You all will go on to accomplish many things in life, whether that's starting a family of your own or becoming CEO of your own company. In order to get to where you see yourself, you must do what I did, what I do, and discover your purpose, know your purpose, and keep your purpose at the forefront of your mind by cherishing it in your heart. Don't just exist. Instead, honor the people who we lost along the way and the people who are here supporting you today by living a purpose-driven life. Thank you.
Our speaker for this morning's commencement ceremony is Mr. Curtis Campbell. Mr. Campbell is President and CEO of TaxAct, one of the largest tax software companies in America. He is also a public board member of the Fortune 500 company, Jack Henry. Mr. Campbell is a 1990 graduate of Goose Creek High School and sponsor of the Black and Gold Scholarship. This scholarship awards $5,000 annually to a graduating senior majoring in STEM or business with plans to attend a 4-year university. Mr. Campbell holds a bachelor's degree in business administration from the Citadel, a master's degree in international business studies from the University of South Carolina, and a certificate in general management from Harvard Business School. Mr. Campbell has been in the high-tech industry for 25 years. He has served as European Product Manager at Hewlett-Packard, Head of Commercial Desktop and Server Businesses at Dell, Head of Product and Technology for Amazon Web Services, multiple Vice President roles at Intuit, and Managing Vice President leading the Consumer Auto Division at Capital One. Mr. Campbell is well recognized for his leadership, innovation, software development, and consumer-centric design. He lives in Dallas, Texas with his wife Nadia, older son Kai, who's graduating tomorrow, and heading to Brown University in the fall to study neuroscience, and a younger son, Luca, a rising 10th grader. Please welcome our very own Gator, Mr. Curtis Campbell.
Thank you very much, Principal Washington. To the school board, to the teachers who have given so much, thank you for all you do. To the parents, grandparents, brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles, for your support for these awesome students, thank you for everything you do. I know it's not easy, by the way. And finally, to the Gators in the house, anyone ready to graduate? Y'all got quieter since 1990. Anyone ready to graduate? You know, folks, I think I heard more parents yelling than kids on that one. So, kids, if you go home today and your suitcase is on the porch and your house key don't work no more, your parents are ready for you to graduate. Kids, if you go home tonight and your dad's converted your bedroom into a home theater with a big screen TV, that TV isn't for you. Your parents are ready for you to graduate. What do you say, parents? Okay. I'm a former Goose Creek High School student, and if you didn't notice, I'm also a black man. So that's a pretty lethal combination when it comes to being on time. I want to apologize just right off the bat. But in the words of my 10th grade biology teacher, my favorite teacher of all time, by the way, Miss Scott, after my first biology test, she said, "Curtis, son, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here." So with that, I'll try to keep it short, people. So the focus of my talk today is belief. There's no limit to what each one of you can do. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter if you're a C- student, by the way. Nothing can prevent you from becoming what you want to be as long as you believe. J.M. Barrie, the author of the book Peter Pan, once wrote, "The moment you doubt whether you could fly, you cease forever to be able to do it." I've been around the block, Goose Creek. I went to the Citadel on a wrestling scholarship. I worked in engineering, went to the top-ranked international business school in the U.S., worked with some of the biggest and brightest minds at some of the biggest tech companies on the planet, was mentored by Michael Dell. I worked for Jeff Bezos. He's not a nice guy all the time, but he's a smart guy. Now run one of the biggest tax software companies in the U.S. I've seen some incredible things, met some incredibly smart people, but no one has taught me more about belief. No one has taught me more about success than a person who dropped out of middle school. Middle school dropout and success. Those things typically don't go together, people. It's kind of like plastic and silverware. It's kind of like jumbo shrimp. This is my favorite. It's kind of like Stratford and winning. It's kind of like pretty ugly. If somebody sets you up on a blind date and tells you your blind date is pretty ugly, believe them. However, sometimes a combination, it might fool you, like middle school dropout and success. That middle school dropout taught me that I could be anything I wanted to be. Taught me that being a C- student in high school wasn't a barrier to achieving my dreams. Taught me success is nothing but the combination of having a plan, being maniacally focused, and a little bit of luck. That person who believed in me was my mama. Now, y'all might not notice from a distance, but my mom's from Taiwan. She met my dad, a Navy sailor stationed in Taiwan in the late 60s, early 70s. And she fell in love with a black man in a time when most people in her village had never seen a black person before. That woman with no high school education taught me several lessons in my life. Although my mom dropped out of high school to help with her family, it doesn't mean that her education stopped, people. Mark Twain once said, "I've never let my schooling get in the way of my education." That person who dropped out of middle school impacted me and my sister incredibly in our 15 years growing up here in Goose Creek, right off Red Bank Road. A lesson she taught me was, don't judge people. She used to tell me, when I first met your dad in Taiwan, people in the village used to go up to him and rub his skin to see if the color rubbed off. You know, people, I don't know any black man whose color rubbed off, except for maybe Michael Jackson, by the way. My mom would tell me, the world is a collage of beautiful colors, races, and religions. If we embrace each other, we can make beautiful artwork. So I encourage you all, don't judge one another, seek to understand. And this is probably my favorite quote of all time. It's from Rich Goodrich. Never judge another knight without first knowing the strength and cunning of the dragons he fights. Everybody in this entire auditorium is fighting their own dragons. Seek to understand. The next lesson I learned from my mom was never give up. This lady with broken English worked 3 jobs: at Holiday Inn as a housekeeper, across the street at the airport on the midnight shift as a janitor, and at the Oaks Country Club serving rich people. She was the hardest working person I've ever met. As a kid, I didn't realize how hard my mom worked, how she humbled herself just to provide for my sister and I. It took me till I was in my 20s to truly appreciate her sacrifices. After a night of cleaning bathrooms, she would come home with a smile, touch me on the shoulder and say, "You be better than me one day, son, and never give up." So Goose Creek, never give up. The next lesson my mom taught me was, don't be too cool to be nice. I remember folks going to Ryan's Buffet. It's probably not here anymore. Y'all old folks remember it. It was over on Rivers Avenue. They had crab legs one night. I love crab legs, by the way. So I rush up there, and y'all know you got to get crab legs when they're hot. I rush up there, jump in line, skip in front of this old lady. And as I was reaching for the tongs to grab these steaming crab legs, I feel this big whack on my back. And when I got hit, there was crab legs flying everywhere. Crab juice was on everybody. I turned around, it was my mom. And my mom said, "Boy, get your butt to the back of the line." Now listen, people, if you saw a Chinese woman smacking a little black kid in a restaurant today, it would be on the 6 o'clock news, by the way. But back in the day when moms did that, they used to get a high five from other parents. So things have changed a little bit. So next lesson I learned from my mom is never let others get in the way of your passion. And there's a quote from one of my favorite movies of all time. It's called Pursuit of Happiness, and it stars Will Smith. And it's before Will Smith started to lose his mind a little bit. But anyway, one of the best quotes in this movie is what Will said to his son. And what Will said to his son was, "Don't ever let somebody tell you you can't do something. Not even me. You got a dream, you got to protect it. When people tell you you can't do something, it means they probably can't do it themselves, by the way. You want something, go get it." So Goose Creek graduates, find your dream and protect it. Not only protect it, but nurture it. It doesn't matter where you are right now. 32 years ago, I was graduating as a senior with a C- average. Don't let my son hear that, by the way. And if it wasn't for a scholarship in wrestling, I'd still be working at that same McDonald's on Highway 52. I'm sure it's still out there. So remember, it doesn't matter where you start your journey. It only matters where you end it. Okay, Goose Creek. The next lesson I learned was be the change that helps others. John Bunyan once said, "You have not lived today until you've done something for someone who can never repay you." Folks, I'm only here because of the compassion and nurturing of others. I'm not smarter than anybody else. I'm the same kid who graduated here 32 years ago, except a few influential people gave me a chance because they saw something in me. Goose Creek, in your life, I ask you to be the change that helps others. The final lesson I learned, in this lesson I probably learned the hardest way possible. Tell someone you love that you love them. In high school, I ran with some of the wrong folks. We'd party, we'd skip class, we'd stay out all night, all that stuff. And if your parents were here in the late 80s, early 90s, they may have been doing that with me. All that mattered to me back in the day was sports and having fun. My mom would come to my wrestling matches, cheering for me. And at the end of the event, I'd walk by my mom, pretending like I didn't know her. I was too cool back then to be seen with my mom. I remember Goose Creek coming home from college on spring break. My mama hadn't seen me in months. I was with my friends. We walked into the house. And mama would say, "Curtis, I haven't seen you in months. What's going on? I want to talk to you. How you doing? What's going on in school?" I walked past my mom, grabbed my shoes, grabbed my clothes, threw them in a duffel bag. walked past her out the door, slamming it behind me, saying, "I'm going on spring break. Leave me alone. You're a nag. Quit it." I didn't realize I slammed the door on the one person who was always there for me. For the next 15 years, I saw my mama maybe 5 times. I was busy focusing on my career. I wanted to be the best. I wanted to make money. I wanted to be a millionaire. I wanted that so other people could admire me. My parents eventually got divorced. My mom was living by herself. Every time she would call and want to come visit, I'd tell her, "Mama, I'm really too busy with work right now. I got a lot going on. I got to go." Anybody do that before? Good. A few years later, I get this call. "Curtis, your mom's in the hospital. You need to come home now." When I got that call, my heart dropped to the bottom of the ocean. I rushed back to town to the hospital, and I saw my mom lying in bed. And as I walked over, I reached out and said, "Mama, are you okay?" And I'll never forget what she said next. My mom looked at me like I was a complete stranger and said, "Who are you?" And I stood there frozen, wondering what just happened. And I finally said, "Mom, it's me, it's your son. Don't you recognize me?" You see, people, my mom was diagnosed with rapidly progressive dementia, which causes permanent memory loss. And as I gripped my mom's hand, I said, "Mom, I'm so sorry." And my mom looked at me like she didn't know me. She said, "Help." She started to push me back, swatted away my hands. And I fell back into the wall, and I slowly sunk to the floor. And at that point, I'd realized I repaid my mom's love by avoiding her calls and not being there when she needed me. My mom just loved me so much, she just wanted to spend time with me. And as a kid and as a young adult, I threw that all away. I'd give everything today to go back. I'd tell her every day what she meant to me. I never let being cool get in the way of me and my mama. So class of 2022, the one thing you can never get back in life, I promise you this, is time. It vanishes so quickly, sometimes you don't know it's fading away. Tell someone you love while you can, you love them. My whole life since leaving Goose Creek was focused on being a success. It was focused on making money. It was focused on running things. It was focused on having fun. Along the way, I forgot about the one person who truly taught me to believe. That middle school dropout taught me I could be anything I wanted to be. Taught me that being a C- student in high school wasn't a barrier to achieving my dreams. Taught me success is nothing but the combination of having a plan, being maniacally driven, and a little bit of luck. So to wrap up Goose Creek, class of 2022, my mama taught me 5 things. Number 1, don't judge people. Number 2, never give up. Number 3, don't be too cool to be nice. Number 4, never let others get in the way of your passion. And number 5, be the change that helps others. Now, the final lesson I learned the hard way: tell someone you love that you love them while you can. If you do these things, my mama would say, you will succeed. You will honor those that support you, your family out here, your teachers in the audience, your coaches, and your friends. If you combine all these things with the power of belief, you'll change the world. So it's with great honor that I say, find your passion, believe in your mission, love those around you as deeply as you can. God bless and Godspeed, Goose Creek, class of 2022.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell, for your words of wisdom for the class of 2022. This morning, we celebrate the accomplishments of this wonderful class, After receiving a diploma, each graduate will receive a white rose with a gold ribbon, symbolic of a new beginning and our desire for much success in your future. This ceremony is very important to the graduates and their families. I ask that family and friends clap briefly during the calling of the names. It would be very disappointing if a parent did not hear their child's name being called. We will celebrate and applaud together with great joy after all names have been called. Thank you so much. We appreciate your cooperation.
Will the first row of the graduating class of 2022 please rise? It is Alice, Rihanna Joy Alstrom, Larry Axel Almendarez Gerizano, Kelly Kimura Ankrum, Haley Rose Anktil, Kiamani Dolores Anderson,
Good morning. Congratulations. It is truly an honor to celebrate with you today. Will the Goose Creek High School class of 2022 please stand? I have verified with your faculty and administration that you have met the requirements for a high school diploma. Therefore, by the authority vested in me by the state of South Carolina and Berkeley County School Board, I do hereby certify these diplomas and pronounce you graduates of Goose Creek High School in the state of South Carolina.
I am proud to present the 52nd graduating class of Goose Creek High School. Graduates, please turn your tassels from right to left. Will everyone please stand and welcome our senior chamber choir members as they lead us in the singing of our alma mater. On behalf of our graduates, distinguished guests, faculty, and administration, we thank you for celebrating with us today. I present to you the Goose Creek High School class of 2022.